Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, January 11th, and it's still New Year of 2022. Welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom, brought to you by the Best Girl Consulting Firm. You know, having been able to carve out a career as an actor, I was, of course, taken aback when I heard that Sidney Poitier had passed. Sidney Poitier, what an actor. What a legacy he left for us all. As a young person in those days when there were very few blacks in film and television roles, Sidney Poitier became the man who broke through in roles that were dignified, distinguished leadership roles. He was never stereotyped. By design and intent, he did not do the ignorant servant, buffoon, and the other stereotypical roles blacks were subjected to. He was the dignified, respected character in To Serve with Love. He was the generous, kind man who befriended the blind, oppressed young woman in A Patch of Blue. The black man who gets engaged to the upper class white woman, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and the Philadelphia detective who helped the Southern sheriff solve his murder in Sparta, Mississippi, and In the Heat of the Night. Here's what one director had to say about working with Sidney Poitier. Quote, "Everybody ups their game when Sidney's on the set. He was the greatest combination of talent, professionalism, kindness, warmth, and class I've ever met. Not only did everybody up their game professionally, when Sidney was working, everyone was nicer. You'd see grips and electricians who were normally running around say, 'Excuse me,' and be polite. It was a remarkable thing to witness. His persona was real. He really was a brilliantly talented man and a kind and classy man. One of the things he would do every time I saw him, and this is the director being quoted again, he would say something complimentary to me to make me feel good. I think he did that with everybody. He loved people and making them feel at ease. I think it was just his way." He says, Sidney Poitier made it easy to be in the presence of greatness. He taught me something wonderful one day. We were talking about one's life in this profession, and he said, "We pour our lives into our work as if from a cup. And when the work is over, you have to refill that cup. And you can't refill it with work. You have to refill it with life." Sidney Poitier, great man, an inspiration, and someone who was an inspiration to me in my chosen field. Okay, our G-list guest today is Rachel Guidry, the owner of Piper Creative Company. Piper Creative is a creative boutique agency offering hands-on and hyper-focus, I like that, creative design service. Take your brand to the next level with creative solutions from Piper Creative Company. We look forward to talking to Ms. Guidry this morning. The G-List, of course, is sponsored by Mainstream Financial. Mainstream Financial brings financial vision and clarity to your retirement plans. Talk to the folks at Mainstream Financial. You don't let your money run out before you do. This edition of Tuesday with Thom, of course, is sponsored by our partners, the Best Girl Consulting Firm. Best Girl has been providing customized solutions to executive issues for 34 years. Let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Solution that fits your needs. So let's get to the roundtable regulars, Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Thom. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. So I take it, as we were talking backstage before the show, that you enjoyed the game last night.
I did. I was going to be happy whatever the outcome was going to be. I have friends and family on both sides of the field last night, so I was happy either way.
Okay. But how were you the happiest?
That Auburn wasn't playing and I wasn't having a heart attack. I would love for our team to have been in the championship game, but our cardiac cats make me nervous every time they go on the field. So
I hear you.
It wasn't as stressful last night, for one thing.
Okay. So how's your new year getting off? What kind of start you getting off to on your new year?
New Year's is going well, Tom. It's been busy. I mean, doing projects around the house, and I didn't realize how many things I need to catch up on, but I had a lot that I do get behind during the holidays. So just catching up, and I want to say Happy Founders Day to my sorors, the members of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, who will be celebrating 109 years of existence on this Thursday, January 13th, and followed by the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, who will be celebrating their Founders Day on January 15th. And then the sorors of Zeta Phi Beta will also be celebrating their Founders Day this week.
Now, we have Miss Guidry on this morning, who's an entrepreneur, and you mentioned to us last week that you had a business idea that you were going to pursue. How is that coming?
It's coming a long time. I actually had a chance to do some more work on the logo and writing up the business proposal. So it's coming along fine. I'm really excited about it. Actually was getting orders in last week, and so I've got some things I've got to get out this week. But it's coming along just fine. I actually looked at some numbers, and there were a lot of new businesses that were started by women in 2021, and I guess women had a lot more downtime, I guess, during the pandemic, and so people started to pursue those ideas, those hobbies in many cases that they had before, turn into business ideas for them.
I think that's one of the reasons that people keep talking about people are dropping out of the workforce, but I think a lot of people aren't necessarily dropping out of the workforce. They're just changing who and how and what they work on.
Absolutely.
And enjoying, they've been doing this for the longest, and now they want to try and make some money at it. So good for them.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, let's get Michael Walker on here and see what he's talking about this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm just reading the comment here. So
okay,
all right. Your name in it, but so I'll just pass on it and keep going.
It's okay.
How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. I hope you and Barbara both are doing well, and Happy New Year to you both.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was okay. It was somewhat non-eventful, just kind of chilling out and, trying to recover from the first week of the new year and get ready for the second week, I guess.
Okay. Well, then you got to get ready for the third week. So you gotta remember what Sidney says. If your cup you can't fill that cup up with work. You gotta fill it up with something else. So
I hear you.
I like that that quote from him. So I know you're an Auburn guy. You live in Georgia, so you can't be a Georgia fan. You're not an Alabama fan. So what did you do last night? Did you watch the game?
Yeah, I watched it as I guess you could say, as a bystander without a dog in the fight, so to speak.
Okay. I
must say, where I am certainly not a Georgia fan, I am happy for the quarterback of Georgia, Stetson Bennett IV. He was a walk-on, Thom, and appreciate that. And reason why I'm so happy for him is because the Georgia fan base and the coaches really didn't give him a fair shot You know, he walked on at Georgia. He was always third or fourth in the depth chart. He couldn't get on the field. He left, went to a junior college and played there, played very well. And when he got ready to graduate from junior college, Kirby Smart went after him again because all of the 5-star quarterbacks he recruited wasn't getting the job done. And they brought him back in, and he pretty much kind of saved their season last year, but he took a lot of heat because of the Alabama loss. And it's interesting that I talked to some Georgia fans. They go, Stetson Bennett's not our quarterback. He didn't do this against Alabama. I said, well, Alabama make a lot of quarterbacks look bad. So
Right.
what's the problem there?
Yeah, that's nothing new.
I said, you guys got to give this guy a break, you know.
Right.
And then after the SEC championship, they were down on Kirby. Kirby needs to change quarterbacks. He needs to do something different, you know. So I'm really happy for that young man to be able to deliver a championship in spite of all of the negativity surrounding him. And it's funny, he carries a flip phone. They asked him about all the stuff that was on social media about him. He said, well, I don't see any of that stuff because I have a flip phone, so I'm not connected. So
so if you got a flip phone, you can't connect to all that stuff. Huh?
Right.
You can't get text messages. Yeah, you can't get text messages, I don't think.
Yeah.
That'd be a good thing for me. I'll have to look into that. When they can't get a hold of you. I thought at the end, I did, like I said, I slept through the third quarter and I saw the fourth quarter, and I saw the young man crying. He was, you know, it obviously meant a lot to him.
Yes.
And that was I was glad for him.
I watched the post-game interviews they did with him, and he talked about, he said, I never lost faith in myself. He said, I knew I was a good quarterback and I knew I was capable of winning. So I didn't pay any attention to all the naysayers and people that were down on me. So, you know, that's the reason we're here tonight. That's the reason you're interviewing me right now, is because I am a winner. He said, and I'm not bragging, I'm just stating a fact. I thought that's pretty good.
He deserves it. I
Yes.
sit there looking at him, and I said, well, boy, he got his future mapped out now. He's the one national championship at Georgia.
Absolutely.
He can run for Senate now.
I thought about Herschel. I'm surprised they never showed him last night or anything.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I also admire about him is that there was a story that after practices, he would stay in practice by himself and just go over the playbook and everything. And he finally went to Kirby and said, why can't you see what I can do?
Yeah.
And
because Kirby running up and down the sideline, he can't see nothing, man. He's just running up and down the sideline like a cheerleader.
Yeah, I think he should be tired at the game. He uses all of his energy.
Because the other game they played, man, he was running up and down the sideline. But I thought Nick Saban was very kind and generous to him. Yes. Obviously, he likes Kirby, and
yes.
So that was good to see that there was no animosity there.
Right.
And, so now 2 of his former coaches have beaten Nick Saban, Kirby and Jimbo.
Right.
And so that's interesting. But I you could kind of read Nick Saban's lips when he met him at midfield, and you could sort of see that there wasn't any animosity there.
Right.
Yeah.
He likes Kirby. I told you guys, my friend across the street, Marvin, is a big Georgia guy. But Marvin is, I say a big Georgia guy. Marvin's not one of those that, in other words, he ain't gonna come over here today and put a note on my house or something.
He's not obnoxious.
The guy next door, he's an Alabama guy, but I don't have to worry about seeing him for about a week. Maybe might not see him till next football season.
I was gonna say he may be in hiding till next fall.
My wife and I say he's in witness protection, so he's gone. We won't see him for a while. I don't know.
gosh.
I just don't get that excited about it. What else you guys got?
Well, Tom, switching over to basketball, I want to congratulate our Auburn Tigers who moved up to number 4 in the polls this week. And they actually take on Alabama tonight in Tuscaloosa on the court. So that should be a good game.
Yeah. Well, maybe my neighbor come out protection and watch that game.
You may never see him though, because I
if
don't
they
know.
win, if they win, I'll see him.
That's true.
Michael, what else you got, buddy?
Well, I'd just like to mention the fact that, we're all having this surge in Omicron and COVID and what have you. And President Biden has a part of his pandemic relief plan where starting January 15th, health insurance companies have to reimburse policyholders for up to 8 at-home COVID-19 tests per person each month under his guidelines. And part of this is because people that are getting sick now, some of them is because of the flu, some of it is because of COVID and what have you. And especially here in Georgia, I'm not sure about over in Alabama, they were flooding the hospitals and emergency rooms to get tested. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, guys, you got to stop coming here to get tested because we're trying to take care of people that are already sick and in the hospital, and we don't have time. So they are telling people to go out to get at-home COVID tests, and then the retailers started increasing the price of them, jumping the price up. So part of Biden's pandemic relief plan is saying that insurance companies have to reimburse people for 8 tests at home. And if you have insurance, you can just go get your COVID test and they'll bill your insurance company, much like with the COVID vaccine.
So that's 8 tests per person per month?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Starting January the 15th.
Okay. That's good.
So you can go and get 8 tests and
yes.
put it on your insurance.
Yes.
If you don't have insurance?
If you don't have insurance, the government will pay for it like with COVID. You let them know you don't have insurance and it's part of the plan. And that's going to be implemented on the 15th of January.
Okay,
and Michael, just curious, and it may not specify, but do you know if you can pick up all 8 at one time or do you have to space those out?
I don't know. It hasn't said that yet. We'll probably find out as they reveal more of the details in that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And good news for people who haven't been able to find testing locally.
Exactly.
Or testing sites. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And one other bit of news, you guys may have heard of this. It's been a miracle breakthrough in medicine. A 57-year-old man on Friday received a pig heart as a transplant.
Mm.
He had a life-threatening disease, and they were able to get the Food, Drug, and Administration to fast-track it so that he could receive this heart because it was either do or die.
Wow. A pig heart.
Yes.
Now that's amazing. Is that new?
Yes. You're probably thinking about a kidney. They did a kidney before.
Okay.
And the kidney was kind of on the outside of the man's leg. They showed a video where they started it right there and it was able to work. But this was a heart that was transplanted. And it happened, they got to go ahead last week to start to do it. Rather, they did surgery last week. It was approved, I think, New Year's Eve or New Year's Day by the Food and Drug Administration as an emergency surgery to save his life. And it's a situation where if there is a possible medical breakthrough and they haven't gone through all the protocols to get it, they can fast track it. And that's what they did. And it was an attempt to save his life. And so far, he's doing okay. Only 57 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Okay. You guys got anything else before we move on? No. Barbara, are you at home today?
I am, Tom. I am at home. I shared with you why. I don't want to say publicly why, but yes, I'm home and things seem to be working fine as far as my internet is concerned. So this may be a regular for me now.
This is your first time being able to do it at home in over a year, isn't it?
Yeah,
Pretty
it
much.
has been. Yes. Yes.
Wow. Well, good deal.
So I'm
Good
excited.
deal. I'm gonna knock on wood here so that
Yes.
it
Knock on
continues to
wood. Let's
work.
pray and
Eh,
all of that. Let's pray that this is not a fluke, that this is working.
okay. Well, let's get to the G list and talk to our guest. I'm looking forward to talking with her. The G list is where everybody is a star, and it's sponsored by Mainstream Financial Group. So let's hear from Mainstream.
Mainstream Financial Group provides financial services for both individuals and businesses. Mainstream's mission is to understand the unique needs of every client and work closely with you, assembling a team to develop and manage your resources to help you accomplish your defined financial goals. Mainstream's financial professionals will provide you with a complimentary, no obligation financial review. Now, these professionals can then offer you custom advice to mend together the pieces of your financial life and come up with a plan that is truly comprehensive. Mainstream Financial assists retirees and those close to retirement in planning for a secure retirement so not to run out of money during your lifetime. You can take advantage of opportunities with tailored advice and the resources to act on it. Mainstream Financial Group, www.mainstreamfg.com, 205-324-0589.
Okay. Don't let your money run out before you do. Let's get to our G list guest for today. Remember, Hollywood's got the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list where everybody is a star. And today's G list guest is Rachel Guidry of the Piper Creative Company. Rachel was born and raised in the panhandle of Florida. Her dad was in the military, and she lived in what she describes as a handful of places, but mostly identified with the Florida lifestyle. She describes her business as a boutique agency with hyper focus and hands on service. She can take your brand to the next level with creative solutions, create a business strategy, and problem solve for you through innovative design. Rachel graduated from FSU in retail merchandising, product development, and communications. She took off for California to start a career in the apparel industry. Through this adventure, she discovered her true talents and drive were within communications and marketing. She wanted to support herself and do what she loved freely, but also wanted to help small business by providing affordable marketing consulting and services. So let's hear from our guest, Rachel Guidry. Good morning.
Good morning. How are
How
you
are you?
doing? Good.
Uh,
I'm good.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So I have to ask you, did you watch the football game last night?
I did not. I'm an
Okay.
FSU fan, so
Oh, you're kind of in the situation with us at Auburn then.
oh yes.
We're
Mhm.
waiting on our next time. We don't know
Right,
when
yeah,
that
we're
when
we're
that's
yeah,
gonna be,
sitting on the
but we'll
bench for a second.
but,
We're
but,
chilling.
but, but we'll get there. So tell
hmm
me when you say that I like that hyper focus word. When you say that you provide affordable marketing consulting and services for small businesses, give me an example. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so basically, when I was in more of a corporate marketing job, I saw a lot of invoices come through that were just crazy amounts of numbers. And I was just like, how do small businesses keep up with this? And knowing a lot of small businesses throughout the community already, and learning more about more each and every day, I really wanted to provide something that's under a certain price point that they could afford. I knew that I had talents in it and I wanted to help the community. And so I thought, this makes sense.
I'm grinning because when I worked for a large corporation 100 years ago, uh, um, I would do the same thing. I'd look at the invoices that came in from all the consultants. It's like, I'm in the wrong business. I need to be
Right?
a
Yeah, you're like,
consultant.
whoa. Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
I did. I moved over myself. Specifically, if somebody's looking for some help, what specific things do you provide to them?
So definitely it's goal based. So we kind of work backwards. So, whether that's more people in the door or more people, you just want more people to know about your brand, or, there's different various goals. I mainly work digitally, but I do have kind of a PR background as well. So I can tell people that it's not just digital that's going to get you there. You do need to be out and about now with the current conditions. That's a little confusing and whatnot, but things like this are amazing. So stuff like that.
Okay. I'm going to get Michael and Barbara on here to join us, and I ask a few questions, and then we'll come back. Who's up? Is Barbara, you there?
Here.
All
Hi,
right.
Rachel. How are you
Hi,
today?
good. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I do have some questions. I'm just curious about the name of your company, Piper
Okay.
Creative Company. How did you come up with that name?
So my beloved dog passed away. I'm very much
Oh,
an
I'm
animal
sorry.
lover.
Okay.
Yeah, so she meant the world to me, and I didn't know what to name my business. I didn't want it to be Rachel Guidry Consulting or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
So I was like, okay, what can we do? So Piper Creative Company. She was a miniature pincher, and she was full of energy and life, and so the colors in our logo too um, are black and tan,
Okay.
which I took the colors from her fur and then made the logo with that. And so
Wow.
yeah,
That's great. Great. I love that.
yeah.
And some of the companies you work with, have you had any favorites, or what do you really enjoy doing the most? What has been the most fun project you've had to work on?
I really do put a lot of emphasis on health. So I do have a medical marijuana client. It's actually a physician's certification consultation office, doctor's office. So I do like to work within that a lot. But I also do love, working with restaurants and working with entertainment companies who do acrobatic arts. And, I just love the diversity of it, really, because I get bored easily, honestly. And the fact that I can bounce around and write copy for this and do an ad for that, or, whatever, it's really fulfilling to me.
Yeah, that's great. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael?
Is Michael?
Good morning, Rachel. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good.
I wanted to ask you, what is the Human Design School, and what does becoming certified entail with that?
Okay, so human design. It's definitely a newer modality. It came out when I was born, 1992. So, it's an amazing, blueprint to get to know yourself. So you look up your date, your time of birth, and it has to be within the hour. And then you get this thing called a body graph, and it just points to a bunch of different things about you that it's so eye opening, and you can see all these aspects about you in a positive light, and it's really a game changer. So I have been studying it for the past 2 years, self studying, read multiple books and articles and blah blah blah. So I said, why am I not getting certified, especially with this extra time that we have? So that looks like a 3-year process, um, all online. My first class is on Thursday, which is exciting. So, and I plan to communicate everything I learned through TikToks, and then hopefully post that on Hyper Creative Company. I just have to market it properly, which I do have a idea behind the scenes here, gonna come out soon. I'm excited about it, but it'll help everyone find their unique creative processes and, how they go about life. It's a decision-making tool. It's amazing. I could go on and on about it. You opened up Pandora's box here.
Okay. Well, tell me, you said that there was a shift from the apparel design into the communications and marketing. What life-changing event or what happened that caused you to shift your focus from that over to communications and marketing?
So I worked a few jobs out in California. I actually worked for Pacific Sunwear headquarters at one point as well. And just didn't, it wasn't working out the way I envisioned, I guess. It wasn't bringing me joy, it just didn't make sense for me anymore. So then I looked up, I think it was from Facebook, and I got a job with a startup company called Miss Curve, and it was a plus size, like in betweeny, that they would call it, line for women. And they were like, okay, great, you can do this and that, and now, well, with my background in communications and then apparel and everything. So I ended up doing more marketing and communications with that, and I was like, oh, really like this. And then it was just hard out there. I'll be honest. Like, I didn't want to be so far away from my family, and a job opened up over here, and I just knew I was gonna get it. Sometimes your intuition just, I don't know, the stars align, and I ended up getting it, and I really enjoyed it. So
cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
No.
Okay.
I was just saying thank you.
Okay, so you moved back on this end of the world, huh?
Yes. So it was a startup in California, and then we came back.
Okay. Barbara, you got anything else?
I do. Rachel, we were talking a little bit earlier about women entrepreneurs. And we know there are a lot of challenges you face as a female entrepreneur. So tell us some of the challenges you faced as a young female entrepreneur there in the Panhandle of Florida.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm also image consultant certified. So fortunately and unfortunately, there is a preconceived notion or first impression, or whatever, when you meet someone, and it's based off of what they're wearing and whatever. So I definitely do feel the need to heighten my appearance just so that I can get that first respectful impression, because I do want there to be a level of respect for everyone. So working hard to keep that up is definitely a thing. And then of course, just an entrepreneur in general. I mean, you have to do so much back end stuff and everything that no one sees, that is constantly on your mind and whatnot, that weighs a lot on your shoulders. But of course, at the end of the day, you're like, this is awesome. I'm my own boss. This is amazing.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rachel, I'd like to talk to you about digital marketing, because you brought that up a couple of times in your discussion. And I'm old school. I came up in the day. I have a background in marketing and communications, but I came up during the time where we focus on print media, radio, television. And then a lot of us just had to do that old school handshaking and door to door. Tell me, with digital marketing, how do you really monetize that and design a program for a small business so that they can really see a return on the investment, and whether that investment is money or just time to do the digital marketing, and what does that entail?
So return on investment in digital marketing is tricky. It can be done, but it takes a little longer. I will say that. Because of course, going from the digital world to the physical world, if their end goal being putting more patients in the door, You're going to have a disconnect if you don't purposely connect those two, really. But with that said, so social media in general, difficult to have a specific ROI. Now, with that said, you need to be on social in this day and age, period. But with other digital marketing, website traffic and all of that, there are so many tools out there, so many apps. Just Google it, honestly, and you will find so many tools and things to get your return on investment, whatever that may be. So yeah, you can look at ad analytics, website analytics, and then of course all your apps, and just having a game plan of a team of it working together. So your website talking to your Facebook, connecting the two, making sure you have the widget here and there. Of course, SEO is huge, keywords, etc. And then of course, if you're on a platform like YouTube that really connects with Google, that's going to be huge because everyone Google searches. Anyway, I'm getting a little off here, but those are some examples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something here. You are going to, let me see where. Oh yeah, you will become a professional analyst, able to teach anyone how to bring out their unique creativity. Can you just give me a little bit of information on that?
Okay, so yeah, that was what I was talking about earlier. So basically, if someone were to give me their name, birthday, date, time, and place, I can look up their chart, and it provides a lot of insight to how they interact with the world. It's a lot of energetic, new age thought processes here. But so for instance, there's I'm gonna get a little woo-woo here maybe.
Right, go ahead.
Okay, so there's 5 energy types. There's a manifestor, reflector, projector, manifesting generator, and generator. I know. For example, generators have big sunshiny auras. Everyone, they're the person that's at the bar. Someone's going to approach them, like 100%. I'm a manifestor, which is only 8% of the population. And my aura is a little more closed off and maybe even repelling because my energy type doesn't have as much energy as generators. However, with that said, I can do a lot in a little amount of time. So I might rest more, but like when I'm going, I'm gone. Woo, like sprinting, you know what I mean? So knowing those things, even just your energy type, there's a million other things to the chart, let me tell you. But just knowing that one base fact is huge. You're, oh, that makes sense for me. Oh, I am different. Let's celebrate those differences, work with my strengths and then, solve a problem or make a decision. There's a strategy you should listen or you should do. There's an authority you should listen to. And then you have like profile numbers that describe your personality too. And so many things click with everyone when I tell them their chart. I look up all my friends, of course, and they're like, oh my gosh, yes. Or, oh, thank you for telling me to sleep on that decision last night because that's my decision-making process. And now I feel good about the decision I made. So much.
That's interesting. So is there a cost for having that service done, Rachel?
I usually charge a pretty number of $111, but I am giving them away for free right now, especially because I'm about to get certified. So I'm doing like free mini readings right now.
Right.
Just to kind of open people's eyes and say, hey, if you want to research this, type in this, that. Now, go on and have fun. And if you want more advice, I'm here.
I would love to have that done. I would be so
I would
curious.
love to do it for you. Like, I'm so obsessed. Honestly, I love it. It just makes people love themselves more. And I think if we love more, the world could be such a better place.
Yes, so. I would really be curious about that. That's interesting.
Well, I'd like to hear the results.
Yes.
What happens when she when you guys get together. It does sound really interesting.
It
sounds fun,
does.
you
It's
know?
very, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I'll tell you why I'm asking. This sounds a little bit kind of like horoscope reading, a little bit, and then also somewhat of social style or personality
Like a
type
cross
reading.
between the two. Yes.
I'm sorry.
I
Yeah.
see sort of cross between the two. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So by somebody, say for instance, Barbara coming to you and having this go through this process, how will she be able to take that information to help her with her business endeavor? Does that correlate with helping you grow your business? Explain that connectivity.
Yes, you should absolutely be marketing and doing operations according to your energy type, because especially with the energy types, so. For example, my authority is splenic, which is weird, but it means follow your intuition. And I get like an intuitive hit. Like when I bought this house, I knew exactly when. I knew it was going to be my house the second I looked at it before I looked at a million other houses. So anyway, so if you were a generator, it would say to respond. So you should be responding to things that come up around you if you were a generator. So I initiate. That's me. So I start. I'm the trailblazer, apparently, whatever, which makes sense. I'm an entrepreneur. And I do initiate a lot of like plans with friends and stuff like that. It's always been like me, and it's always worked out that way. So that's like a general thing, like, are you initiating? Are you forcing this? Maybe you shouldn't be forcing this. Maybe you should, this isn't the right time. And when there's an opportunity you can respond to, say yes. Versus me, it'd be like, why are you responding to something? You just do it. Just do it. For manifestors, the Nike, just do it. Yes. Now, for 70% of the population who are generators, Nike, just do it is not right. So that's an example. So making decisions within your business, that can really build the trust in yourself to make those decisions for your business, and really benefit you in that way. So that's one of the things. Now, another thing, you can have a gate within your profile. For example, I have the gate of extremes. And so that can mean one day I sleep 4 hours at night, the next day I sleep 10. Oh, it's so weird, I know, but I could have initiated something within those hours that I was sleeping that was meant to be. So it's just interesting to kind of play with that in your marketing style. Like mine is to inform. So it's good that I'm on here. Like I'm informing, I'm talking, so different things like that.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I'd like to, after you and Barbara get together, Barbara, you can give us, maybe you and Rachel can tell us what she found out about you.
Yeah, I would love to do that. That would be great.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
It reminds me of, and Thom may be familiar with this too, working from Bell, when we came into AT&T and South Central Bell in marketing, we had to learn the social styles as an account executive, which at that particular time, I think they had a program called Myers-Briggs or whatever.
Myers-Briggs, yes.
Yeah. And so this reminds me of that, where, and at Bell, they had it broken down into 4 quadrants. Some 25% of the population are amiable, 25% are drivers, 25% are analyticals, and 25% are expressionists. And then we had to know what our social style was. And then when we go to talk to somebody, we had to identify what theirs was and then adapt to their social style in order to be successful in selling. So this is what this reminds me of.
No, that is exactly it. I love it. So I actually describe people, this is human design is Myers-Briggs on steroids. And the fact that you can't change your results is huge, because I would take Myers-Briggs and I would be ENFJ one day and a campaigner the next day. You know,
Yes.
so this is nice because it's like a stable constant that you can refer back to. But yes, it is so worth getting to know your coworkers and their working styles, the way they communicate, because you know it can cause unnecessary drama if you don't know them. You know,
Right.
like me, like, okay, you know, I need to work for like a chunk of time and not be interrupted.
Right.
Like that's just how I work. And some people would take that as like, I don't want to talk to them or whatever, but no, I do want to talk to you. I just like need to focus right now. So, you know, I think taking that time to get to know people, oh my God, the benefits of it is huge, especially in a working setting like that.
Awesome.
Michael, I'm surprised you still remember that stuff, man.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I had to know it. And my social style to the 16th quadrant is driving analytical. You know, I'm an analytical by trait, but I'm a driver as well. So we had to take that all the way out to the 16th quadrant. But yeah, it was drilled in us, Thom. I had to know that stuff for marketing. You know, it'd be interesting to see how, if you had the opportunity to do some of our political leaders, I'd be interested to know how a former president would fare in this program.
Yeah, I've actually looked his up.
Oh, really? Do tell.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, do tell.
Do tell.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm assuming we're talking about Mr. T.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And not the one that wore the gold chains.
Right. Maybe a little more orange. Yeah. So, he's actually, I would say, misunderstood a little bit. His profile is a 5'1", according to what's out there online. And that means he's a heretical investigator. But the new translation of heretical is leader. So though a lot of people may discount or say things or whatever about him, he is leading the way in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
So take that for what you will. And then the one investigator is it. So he might not show it a lot, but that means it's his subconscious more. It's more of his body, the investigator. So within his body and his subconscious, he investigates things. So he, I'm sure, researched a lot of stuff. And of course, with his business, you kind of have to feel like be an investigator to build a really good business by yourself, at least. I don't know. He's also a manifesting generator, which means he has some manifestor qualities of initiating, go, you know. But then he also has generator qualities, which means he's able to keep up that presidential role, because that takes a lot of energy. It would be interesting to see a manifestor in a role like that. It would have to sleep all the time. But he has the energy to keep going and doing. So the heretic part, I'm like, okay, I see, because no, not everyone's going to like the heretic leader. Like, it's just not. And then they'll get blamed for a lot of, they'll be burned at the stake. So it's very interesting. I would like to actually look up more of his gates now that I think about it. So.
Yes, well, it's interesting that you say that he's a researcher and a reader, according to that, where what we heard from a lot of people in the cabinet is that he didn't read.
Right.
And didn't like to read. And so
you never know what's true. So
but he liked reading Twitter. I don't know if he read many books, but I think he was reading something. So I mean, I think there's different types of research. You know, he could be researching, but doing his own type of research. Yeah,
okay,
interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, like, to be fair, within his business, I'm sure, if nothing else, he researched all that. You know, but you can also be out and about researching. So researching people. I mean, him going and meeting a bunch of groups of people and stuff like that. So it's very interesting, because it kind of makes you it gives you more compassion towards people too, which I think is important. I agree. I'm definitely not picking sides here. I voted independently, to be honest. But it brings compassion, and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Interesting.
Yes,
Very
it is.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else?
I do. I want to talk about your the things you do during your downtime. We talked a little bit earlier. Tom mentioned the quote where it's important to balance your work life and your downtime. So, what are some of the things you do during your downtime that kind of help you relax?
Oh, that is so hard being an entrepreneur too, because you're like, I have a business, especially a digital business. So it's like 24/7. And I don't want to ever stop working, but you have to set those boundaries, of course. So I love paddleboarding at the beach. The water's beautiful up here in Northwest Florida. And it's crystal clear. And whenever I see anything in the water, a jellyfish, anything, I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I don't know. I grew up on the water. It makes me so happy. And I have 2 cats and a fiance, and we have a beautiful backyard that we love to hang out in, and I like to travel. I love music, roller coasters. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Interesting. That's great. And Peloton. I understand you own a Peloton.
Yes, ma'am. I highly recommend Peloton. And if nothing else, just get the app. They have meditations, yoga, stretching. They just added boxing. Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a million things on there, and it is affordable. Highly recommend.
Cool. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything? Rachel, do you have anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to just talk about here?
I wrote a few notes, so just make sure.
Okay.
So I wanted to tell you guys about the sweatshirts and stuff that Piper Creative Company does. So we're trying to spread positivity with our sweatshirts and hats and some of our merch. Like the sweatshirt I'm wearing right now says, "What if all your dreams do come true, and that's just a matter of time?" And the idea behind these is you are what you wear, right? I mean, in a way, and especially you're a walking advertisement really too. And so if you're advertising positivity and that's the something that someone reads that day, that's a game changer, especially if it's on the back of the shirt and they don't even have to look at if you're in line and they're reading that and they're taking in that positivity. Huge. So we're trying to come out with a Valentine's Day line that's all about loving yourself and everyone around you and whatnot. So check that out. It'll be out soon. Hats and shirts and sweatshirts. But yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. And I appreciate all the questions.
Your website is so that people can find you,
the
audience.
So www.pipercreativecompany.com, all one word, PIPER, creativecompany.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll hit store, and that's, the human design readings are under unique offerings for now. But we'll be building that in the future.
So we'll be looking forward to your analysis of Barbara. And,
yes.
And get it back to us. Barbara, I don't know, you said something about social. Well, Barbara's a socialite. And she will enjoy this. You'll think you're working, but she'll be having fun, and hopefully you'll have fun.
Oh yes, no, I'm excited. Do it. I'm here for it.
Yes.
Anything else from anybody?
No.
Thank you, Rachel. It's been wonderful this morning.
Thank you, guys. Rachel. I really appreciate it. You guys are so nice and welcoming. It was very fun.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's give Rachel a hand, please. All right. That was great. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Barbara. And so my closing commentary this morning, actually, or as I see it, I opened the show talking about Sidney Poitier, a man who made a career impression on me. I'd like to close the show today talking about a man who left an even greater impression, a man that I got to know. Paul B. Moore Sr. was born August 19th, 1931 in Waco, Texas. He was the youngest of 7 children. He graduated from Gibbs High School with honors in St. Petersburg, Florida. Continued his education at Florida A&M. He got a BS in mathematics. He got a master's in science at the University of New Mexico, and he got a doctorate in mathematics and higher education at Oklahoma State University. Paul was a member of Phi Boule. He had an extensive list of accomplishments. He was former director of the Southern Regional Education Board programs at Alabama Commission on Higher Education. He was the president and professor of mathematics at Talladega College, vice president and professor of mathematics at Norfolk State College, dean of the College of Education and professor of mathematics at FAMU, public relations director and mathematics teacher at Gibbs Junior College. He was the recipient of numerous awards and accolades. Just a man who could spin words like you've never heard of been spent before. He was an incredible human being. He was also a member of Phi Boule fraternity. On Monday, January 3rd, 2020, Dr. Moore passed away quietly at his home in Montgomery, Alabama. And I just wanted to make sure that I paid tribute to this wonderful man. And that is how I see it on this day, January 11th, in the new year of 2022. And that is our show. I thank the audience. We appreciate you. I want to thank Michael Barber. Thank our G-list guest, Rachel Guidry. Thank our sponsors, Best Girl and Mainstream Financial. And thank Emily and the crew. Thank Sean. And I'm having trouble getting my paper here. And remember to enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Peace.